What's up, everybody? Welcome to Beyond Soul Podcast. It's your host, Joe, and I'm here today with a special guest, Tony, solepremise in the building.
What up?
Brother, thank you for pulling up, bro. I appreciate
man.
it.
Yes, I only had to pull up not even a mile or two. So
yeah, you moved, like 5 minutes away from
we
me?
live 5 minutes away.
Literally 5 minutes away.
And you know what the crazy part is? Joe will happily attest to this. I don't even leave the damn house. So I'm a sucker for work. So I'm sure we'll dive into that more. But, man, happy to be here. Happy to see you guys. I'm sure you guys have already kind of checked us out if you haven't already. Come check out Joe's conventions, man. Forget the bags, bro. Check out his conventions, bro.
I appreciate it. But for the people that don't know you, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Anthony Fernandez. Born and raised in Miami for about 10 years. Then took off to the Panhandle of Florida, up in Fort Walton Beach, Destin area, and then lived my childhood up there, and then made my way back to Orlando for UCF. So that's kind of my brief synopsis, and then eventually went on to make solepremise after a bad trip. Went to Puerto Rico. TSA went through my stuff. They opened my gel and my cologne. Damaged everything inside because they left it open, and I was pissed. I had my first time to Puerto Rico, so I was like, I don't know what the hell to do. And then luckily there was a Nike outlet about 15 minutes away. Make sure to call my guy Frank Ninny and say, hey, bud, what do I buy here? And he told me that, check out the sales rack, everything. But no, just kidding. But long story short, I went there, grabbed my stuff that I needed, and got everything replaced. But that night I knew I had to find something that would avoid that to ever happen again. And as crazy as it sounds, I had a dream that I visualized the design of the bag, woke up that next morning, drew it down, looked at my wife and said, I got to do something with this. And now you guys know it as solepremise. And funny enough, full circle, this guy right next to me was one of the first people to see it because I pulled up to a sneaker convention, which we'll leave unnamed. And wholeheartedly, I was like, yo, guys, what do you think? I wanted to see what the audience thought of it. And funny enough, it was Joe was one of the people. Big A was one of the people. So was Sniper Jones, and Holla was one of the guys, those are guys are YouTubers. And it's just crazy full circle that now these guys are doing their own thing and, still rocking with sneakers, obviously. But wholeheartedly, they all saw everything from the raw point. And I was asking people, like, what they thought, but I'd already ordered, I think 2,000 units at that point. So whether you liked it or not, it was coming. So, but yeah, man, put all my savings into it. And now fast forward 7 years later, we doing all right, man.
All right, so you're in the sneaker bag space. Shall I say the travel bag space? I shouldn't even say sneaker bag space at this point. How long have you been doing it for? How long has it been now?
7 years now, man. 7 years and still learning every day. I mean, there's so many things to know about business, whether it's from a travel standpoint to working with buyers from, different retailers or just even working direct to consumer. That evolved. I mean, COVID kind of took that for a spin. I mean, imagine I was selling travel bags when nobody was traveling.
The airport was shut down.
It was shut down. And that year, for perspective, for some of you guys that are watching, I released more colors in our products than I ever had in any other year was 2020. And the biggest thing that I recognize now is where I had an advantage is I doubled down on advertising during that time. Obviously working with YouTubers, but also on the online space, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. But there was no competition on the advertising front because everybody had pulled out. They said, well, I'm not going to spend money on advertising if nobody's doing anything. So, that was a free game for me because then that was a massive year for us. And then 2021 was massive. Then 2022 was massive. We kept growing and we still continue to grow. But during that time where it was really advantageous, a lot of these advertisers kind of just pulled out. So that opened the floodgates for people to kind of get to know who we are. So that was really big.
All right, so we're going to kick off the podcast. Start off by telling me 3 things that you think I or someone else does not know about you.
Woo! That I'm an over thinker when it comes to just perception and how things appear. And, man, I'm trying to think of, a good thing. That I'm I'm not your average entrepreneur. My happy ass likes to sleep until 9 a.m. So if you wake me up at 7 o'clock, chances are we'll have brief conversation, but we ain't having a whole conversation. I'm not a morning person. I'm not like these, you got to wake up 5 a.m. and no, dude, what? Like if I'm not rested and I'm not good for you to be everything I got, why am I going to work? It don't work out that way. And Another fun fact, which a lot of people say motivates them when they talk to me, is if I don't hit a specific number every night for sole premise, I will work until midnight if I have to in order to achieve it. Whether it's remarketing, hitting up abandoned carts, whatever that means, because I have goals for myself in the business, and it doesn't matter how many hours it takes for me to do that. It doesn't matter what I, have to do to achieve that. At least I'm going to do everything in my, God-given abilities to secure that business, if you would. So it doesn't mean it always happens, but a lot of times what I say is I do enough to affect the change. The rest I have to leave in God's hands. So that's another thing people probably don't know. I think last one is it's going to be a fun one. That I come from a Cuban slash back. My grandmother's black, so I'm a mix. I'm like white, Cuban, black, and then even French in there as well. So a lot of people always ask me like, "Hey, what are you? You look Italian. You look this. You look that." So that's just kind of another thing that people just don't know. So there you go.
I think you remember you told me that before, but when
Yeah.
you first said it, I forgot. But when you started talking about it, I remember. But I didn't know you. I thought you were Italian as
Yeah.
well. To
Well,
begin
a lot
with,
of-
I thought you were Italian.
mean-
before I actually met you.
Funny enough, before I ran Sole Premise, I ran a marketing business. So that's another thing. Before I ran Sole Premise, I ran a marketing business for about 10 years, and I used to go to Starbucks. In Starbucks, I used to just sit there, and I was like, okay, hey, cool, let's get this rolling. And I had a guy that actually came up to me and only spoke Italian, thinking I was Italian. I'm like, yo, well, slow the roll, man. I speak Spanish. I can't jive with you, bro. So that kind of got squashed pretty quick. I was like, man, I can understand a couple things you're saying, but that's about it, man. So I get the Italian thing a lot. I even get Greek a lot. Greek a lot. Yeah.
I can see it. I can definitely
Even
see
Middle
that.
Eastern I get sometimes. So there you go. I'm everything, bro, at this point. Check off every box.
All right, so we're gonna get into some Tony questions,
Tony.
some Anthony questions. What motivated you to get into the travel bag industry?
No motivation at all. There wasn't. I just had a dream of just following through on something that I've always wanted to do. I've always been someone who's had ideas and wanted to just kind of see this idea through. Prior to this, I'd made a software called Guide My Body, which was a trainer type, bodybuilding slash fitness app that allowed you to connect with local trainers, along with you having telehealth or telecommunication sessions with those individuals. And I kind of was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out with that whole thing. And I regret not being fully invested in it. But part of it was just because the people I met that were in that space were just trash. So I didn't want to be a part of it because they just weren't good people. They didn't want to see you win. And I'm about being in spaces that people want to see you win, which, as much as I love the sneaker space, everyone's a dog-eat-dog world. But I will say, early on, I met a lot of good people like Joe. And honestly, big shout out to Big A, bro. Big A was the first guy I walked up to in SneakerCon. And he invited me in. He's like, hey, man, I see you're a new vendor. How's everything going? We chopped it up. He was actually selling keychains at the time. That'd be a fun conversation to have with him. But he was selling keychains. And long story short, I was like, yo, man, I don't even know what to do. He's like, bro, just chop it up with these people, blah, blah. He was cool. Made me feel welcome. And honestly, that helped my whole entire weekend. And we crushed it, man. It was a great weekend. And I look back on it and still think how privileged I was to meet someone like him on an early stage that I was just trying to figure stuff out, So, but no motivation, man. Reality was I just saw something that I wanted to do, and I had no business designing this stuff. I had no business. And it just was a kid with a dream that, my story can relate to anyone that's watching this. If you have something in your mind and you're thinking about doing it, just do it. You don't have to be a special person to do it. I just got a big old mouth. That's it. Like, that's it. So.
Perfect. Great answer. So here's one that's pretty intuitive. Talk a lot about business. Many businesses take a loss in the first couple of years for like a startup, right? How many years in the business did it take Sole Premise to be a profitable business, or was it profitable from the jump?
So that's the only thing that's different about me is, Joe, you know me and you've gotten to see where I live. Mm-hmm. If it don't make money, it don't make sense, right? So reality is I never took a loss because I've taken a loss in the last couple years just because there's been new variables that exist to drive a business, whether that's new costs. A lot of people don't know there's a lot of costs that rise in regards to shipping freight into the United States from China, things like that, or anything that involves running a business, the overhead of having different warehouses, things like that have unfortunately grown over the last couple of years. Central Florida, which is where we are and where we're based, is those costs have exploded. No longer just being, I always say costs that you don't even consider. Now they're actually balloon cost. And no, actually, the first couple of years, we were very fortunate. I actually put a lot of the money that I had that I was making towards from the marketing company over into solepremise, and then I help inject a lot of the natural flow. But where I had the advantageous advantage already was I already knew how to run a business, right? Like I already knew in my marketing business, I already taught people how to run a business per se and get all these things situated. So I just adopted everything I told people and did it to my own. And I just knew that I finally was going to get something out of it. You know what I mean? I was going to get whatever I put in, I got out. So where I think I might have lost is myself in the process, because what you have to invest into being a business owner is everything, right? And that's the part that people don't talk about, is you end up doing so much to cultivate something that there is no, like, people are like, oh, work-life balance. There is no work-life balance. It's either work or nothing. And sometimes you can't shut it off. So I would say there's not really a loss from a monetary standpoint, but there's a loss in the idea that, like, there's been times where Joe's hit me up, hey buddy, come over, and I'm just caught up in business, bro. And it's not that I don't love people, is that I love the growth of what I'm doing, and eventually I'm gonna be an old fart and I can't do this stuff. You know what I mean? So I got to do it while I can.
Work.
Work.
So starting a business is difficult. What you did, you started solepremise from scratch. What would you say is the hardest part in the beginning of the business?
Figuring out the logistics. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you don't think about that you have to connect the dots. And then, at the end of the day, people, now will even, speak to it. Let's just even use starting a sneaker business, right?
Yeah.
The logistics aspects of even acquiring the product, i.e. getting it. Now you have to worry about scam artists, and you have to worry about people lying to you. What if they're marking it up more than they should? All that kind of stuff. I mean, there's so many elements of surprises that, like, for instance, that's why you don't see people in the sneaker game now, right? Well, because there's no margins, right? People have to create margins. Okay, well, let me buy it for this much or buy it for this. And you're literally having a scapegoat. And, like, that's why the most viral things on the internet now are how someone got a shoe for a third of the price. Like, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but what you're also having to see is people are desperate in order to make that kind of money. So in the grand scheme, the hardest part is just finding ways to ensure that you're creating enough room for your business to have enough room to mark it up, to sell it to the public, and that you're able to kind of do that time and time again. Because at the end of the day, you can't just do it once, right? You can't be a one-trick pony. You got to continue to do that time and time again. And 7 years in, that's not an easy thing. So you got to continue to intrigue your audience and find a way to manage the logistics to keep that cost down, which is the hardest part too. Costs will eat you alive, and people don't realize that cost is everything. You literally get hit up by everybody and their mom for money. So just be ready to cough it up when you have to, because at some point we see it on the internet with other sneaker shops that have happened. And I'm just using sneaker shops as an example, or sneakers as an example. But wholeheartedly, what happens is people come calling for their money and they ain't got it. So managing your books is probably the hardest part.
The brand solepremise, right, has collaborated with many people, celebrities, influencers, sneaker YouTubers, everybody. Is there anybody behind the scenes that you haven't really spoke about much, but that you're super proud of, that they are rocking your bags?
Well, before the P. Diddy stuff, I would say Usher.
No, bro, that's still flex, man. It's still flex. That's Usher.
Yeah, I mean, Usher and his crew have about 4 or 5 of our bags. There's actually a lot of people. KD for a while had a lot of our stuff. Kevin Durant,
That's
Kyrie. There's a lot of people. Honestly, to be honest, a lot of times what happens, so people can get an insight as to how do celebrities interact with people like brands. Sometimes they'll even buy things under fake names, for God's sakes. And a lot of times,
you caught somebody doing that?
Yeah, we actually
No
have.
way.
Yeah, the reason we knew is then when we verified the address, because it was a large purchase, we saw it was a rather large home in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. And then when you look up sometimes, unfortunately, the internet is the internet. So
that little baby Rick
yeah,
Ross.
you had, I mean,
Ludacris?
it was
one of them.
Yeah. So it was cool. I mean, but I'm just like, why? Like, and then people get even paranoid. Like, I'll give you a great example. Like, they'll send DMs wanting free stuff, right, or wanting product, or wanting to figure out that kind of. Like, oh, don't send our address to. I'm like, I work with a million people, dude. Do you think I care to solicit your address? Like, what am I gonna get from that? You know? So
I was thinking to hit TMZ. Hey,
I'm
go
like,
stand out front of his
dude,
house.
I don't know. Like, it's just so random, dude. Like, it ain't like I'm making money off your address. Like, I don't know. I've been told that more than you could. I know there's agents, which always gets me on I don't know if they're ever just trying to keep it for themselves and not give it to their athletes. So that's always a whole nother conversation in itself.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, oh, the athlete doesn't want his address out there. I'm like, well, where's it gonna go? I don't. Do they not make purchases off stupid websites? Like. The internet's the internet, dude. You can't hide from nobody no more. So, like, unless you're like, like hiding on a private island, homie, like, chill. Like, it ain't that serious. Like, nowadays with the internet, you can literally find someone probably in 10 minutes if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So, like, the idea of that kind of stuff is crazy. But no, I mean, we've had some good. I mean, some good people, but I mean, honestly, it's been a blessing. I mean, honestly, there was a guy that loved our stuff so much that before he went to Australia, God, what's his name? He plays for the Miami Heat. Australian national player. Oh, he bought one of our bags, had it sent to his house, and then flew with it to Australia. Nice. And it was actually our equipment carrier, which is one of our larger bags. And man, ever since, we've literally had a massive following in Australia. I just posted today, or a guy that I'm going to be probably posting later, that a basketball team in Australia has our stuff. So there are actually quite a few teams in Australia that has our stuff. It's so random. Like, Australia's awesome, man. But just the cost to ship there is a nightmare. So, again, another problem with running a business, stuff you don't think about. Well, hey, I want to ship this to Australia. Well, it almost costs as much as the damn product.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so you've worked with quite a bit of influencers, people that do affiliate marketing for you, correct?
That's correct.
What would you say is their favorite person that you've worked with, your most profitable person that you work with, and one of the people that you hated working with?
Everyone. No, I'm just kidding.
You want to skip?
No. No. I listen. It's no surprise to anyone. Me and Unbreakable have had a long-term relationship. I ask that man to do anything. He doesn't bark at me. He doesn't give me a hard time. Regardless of what some people may say about him, because they always have opinions, right? It's like these athletes that you see nowadays. They great example. Caleb Williams from the Chicago Bears never has really done a lot of press and media, but guess what? They have a perception of him that he's this, that, or the other because of him painting his nails a handful of times. Well, listen, I'm not a big fan of painting nails, so homie, if you quit that out, I'd love you even more. But long story short, he went on to Hard Knocks, and guess what? I gained a lot of respect from him. I watched him play and saw that he was actually really devoted to the sport, and you gain a lot of respect from him. You see a whole different side of him besides just painting your freaking nails, which is unfortunate because we as people, we naturally like to put a stigma to people and put things onto people. But wholeheartedly, man, I think Brake's a great dude, man. He's like anyone. We're all complicated in our own ways. We all have our own ways of doing things, and that's just how we are. And I was told by a mentor, you'll never be disappointed in people if you just realize how they are, right? You're not trying to change them. You're not trying to contour them. They're not a little freaking piece of muddy that you're going to shape them. We're all trying to shape people, but if you just hold people accountable for who they are, bro, I love that man. That man can ask me to go fly there and help him move tomorrow, and I'll do it. Same thing with Jay the Senior Guy. Jay the Senior Guy, you call me tomorrow, bro. I'll be there for us. I'll be there for you, man. Listen, anyone who's tried to help me sell a bag in my business, I owe you my life because you've helped grow what I built out of nothing. As Joe saw, I literally had a bag that I was carrying around a freaking trade show to pitch people, and
This is true.
And it's literally brought me more than I could ever imagine. So, no, I don't hold grudges. I mean, listen, I don't want to get defamation shit, but there was one person that I'll say is probably one of the biggest YouTubers in our space that legitimately signed a contract and did absolutely freaking nothing, and then loves to go around and talk about how I don't understand why nobody wants to sponsor me, and then literally went out and freaking copied what one of his main sponsors does and sold it, and then I think that business crumbled. But long story short, this guy has known and gets flown out by every major brand sometimes just because of his subscriber count, which I actually think a majority of them are dead subscribers or like ghost subscribers. But long story short, this person is not good in the sense of they hold their ego higher than their actual work. Like it takes nothing to get in front of a freaking camera and promote something, especially if you have a signed agreement for that. And I actually think that people would in our space could be millionaires if they just understood that they have a pathway with this camera to do so much with their lives. It's way bigger than they think, and they shortchange themselves thinking about their ego, their perception, their this, but then they're the same people that are worried about the first coming up because rent's due, right? That's not how that works. If just like I told you guys, I'm willing to stay up till God knows what hour to work. Do I care what people think about me when I'm doing that? I don't give a shit, right? Like, because ain't nobody gonna come pay my bills, right? So at the end of the day, I got to do what I got to do, and it ain't got to be fancy, it ain't got to be cute. It just getting the job done, right? So it's the same thing that Kobe said. I could wake up at 4, do a 2-hour workout, do like it's up to you to figure out what you're willing to do, and it more pains me when I see 95% of YouTubers, especially in the sneaker space, they don't even put in one inclusion of an ad because they can't work out partnerships because they're not willing to take $200. Why? That 200 could turn into 5. That 5 can turn into 1,000. Like you don't automatically always get what you want from a payment perspective, and you're shortchanging yourself, and you're leaving money on the table. And guess what? Every gym membership wasn't always $10. Now it's 30. Now it's 40. Now it's you end up building on that, but you have to show the market what you can do, even if it's having to do it all over again. And nobody wants to do that. But guess what? Success is not a straight line. You got to go through the ebbs and flows of it, man. So stop wasting time trying to tell. Let me show you this Jordan shoe behind me. They didn't send it to me. I just paid $500,000 for it, but I'm going to show it to you, and then I'm going to sit on the shoe. Shut up. Jordan didn't pay you to do that. You're wasting your time. Jordan don't give a shit if you do that. Like, it frustrates me that you're willing to pitch a shoe that while it gets you views on your channel, it's not growing your wealth. Yes, in technicalities, the views you get are growing your wealth, but you could be tripling that wealth by getting the views, getting the ad, getting this. Like, it's almost like having multiple streams of income doing the same fucking thing, you know? So stop shortchanging yourself, man. Seriously. So, and obviously, I think live videos is great, but it's just dying because there ain't nobody buying shit, man. So, there's my spiel.
Perfect.
Take that to the freaking bank.
You definitely felt something hit the nerve on that one.
Well, I mean, because I see these guys always wanting money and wanting to build their wealth, but they're not willing to do it. They're not. At the end of the day, when people tell me, "Hey, do you think there's such thing as being homeless?" I'm like, absolutely. But there's always a job, right? There's always something you can do, right? It doesn't matter. It may not be fancy. There's always something you can do, right? And we all have a set of skills. That's part of what Soul Premise is about. We all have a set of skills up for us to follow our soul premise. Some people are following their soul premise, but they're not completely devoting themselves to that soul premise, you know? So.
All right, so like you said earlier, when you started out, you started doing shows. You had your own booth, let's say, with SneakerCon, right? The larger shows, of course.
Absolutely.
And you still came to my show. I appreciate it. Probably not because it's me.
No, always.
But would you ever consider going back to doing shows, or do you say fuck it because e-commerce is just taking over?
No, listen, the only reason I don't go to shows is because I have 3 kids, right? Like children, as much as I love what I built for Soul Premise, and not that I'm trying to cash out early, unless you got 15 mil, we can work it out. So, but no, all jokes aside, my greatest gift that I've ever brought to this world is my kids. So, unless you got something better than that, which you won't, my weekends aren't going to be spent traveling, breaking my back, and stressing myself out over selling a couple bags, which, the audiences are just aren't there like they used to be. And, I mean, I miss the camaraderie of like building, networking, and talking to people, but it's not that I don't want to be at these shows. It's that, man, like the timing of them are always just so strange and they're so frequent. I actually think that I would change the whole business model of the way sneakers are, the conventions. And I get you get money by every time you hold an event, but it should be the Super Bowl of sneakers, right? Have it maybe 3-4 times a year and literally make it the biggest freaking thing you could ever think of. Like we've watered down the idea of these trade shows by not making them larger than life. You think you're going to get a massive audience by prepping it for 2 weeks? I don't even know when SneakerCon's going next time. Like, not that it's a dig on SneakerCon. It's there's too much, and you're trying to I get you're trying to grow the brand by exposing it to different cities, but I don't even feel like there's marketing behind those cities. And listen, I'm glad you guys get granted a good amount of people to come out there. I just feel like there's just not a Complex really did a good job with ComplexCon because they made it such a thing, and that's really what these conventions should be. Um, and I actually think that they should license the name of SneakerCon to local brands in local cities if they want to do smaller events, and not even bother with doing it themselves. And allow these people to use that SneakerCon Orlando, license it to every major city, and allow that to be the case. And quit doing all this work that you're flying everywhere, doing all that. You're stressing your employees out. Half these people don't even have, they can't even spend time with their families because they're on the road 90% of the time. It's like they're in WWE, man. It's crazy. So, except it's the guys just trying to elbow drop everyone from selling fakes. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. All right, so we met way back when, I think October 2017 it was roughly. We met at Sneaker Games.
Yep.
Was the first time you ever did your sales pitch to me, which I believe you told me that it was the first time you ever did a sales pitch, correct?
For the
bag.
Yeah.
Would you ever expect it 7 years later to be where you are at now?
I don't think you ever expect where you're going to be. I mean, I just, it's funny because a lot of you guys don't even recognize me because I don't even get in front of a camera because I'm always just working. I'm the guy behind the camera that is working his ass off to make sure everything works. And I never wanted to be the face of the brand in the sense that I don't want to take away from the product of what it is, right? It's a beautiful thing with what I've made in the sense that it's a great way to get around and carry things and do things and allows you to travel. And there's so much more to speak about than some crazy dude behind the camera, right? I've always had a big personality. So a lot of people are like, you got to get out there and do stuff. I'm like, but I don't want that to be the distraction of where my brand is, and wholeheartedly, it's different. solepremise is such a beautiful thing in the sense that it's grown organically within our community that people truly love the product. And sometimes you get tainted because you always have the handful of people that complain about stuff, but then where you always flip it is then the people that are just fanatics of what you do. You imagine I went to Hibbett's and I pitched Hibbett's to get in their stores, which we will be later this year, maybe early next year.
Nice,
into Hibbett's. So God bless America for that. Well, I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna say. Don't make me do it. No, but in all jokes aside, so I was leaving there excited about my presentation, all this kind of stuff. Got into order an Uber, so I was headed back to the airport. I was just gonna fly out that day to head back home, and the lady asked me that was giving me the Uber. She's like, "Oh, hey, what are you here for?" I was like, "Oh, I was just at Hibbett's, selling, telling them about my products that I make and that kind of stuff." And she's like, "Oh, cool. What do you make?" I go, "Oh, it's solepremise." She goes, "Solepremise?" She pulled up 3 receipts of purchases that she had of solepremise.
That's badass.
So, I told her to show me the money. No, all jokes aside, I just felt like that was God talking to me, saying "Hey, you're supposed to be here. You're supposed to do this." So you never see yourself where you're gonna go, right? You just hope to put in the work and let it speak for yourself. And one of my mentors that I met through my marketing company always has a slogan: "The harder you work, the luckier you get." And the harder I worked, the luckier I got because the work just spoke for itself and it just all lined up. And I continue to do that even to this day. If I'm sick, I'm still working. If I'm on vacation, I'm still working. It don't matter what it is. I always am plugged in. There's not a time or place that I don't know what the pulse is of solepremise. I've done every position imaginable. I've packed everyone's box at some point. I've signed a signature every time that something comes out. I do customer support. It don't matter what it is. You've talked to me, and if you didn't know, chances are you probably know me as Robert. So online. So I do that just so you don't know that I'm some crazy dude that's behind the scenes. But all jokes aside, I care about the people that mess with me, and that's why I call them. I hate it because I feel like it's you're part of the solepremise family. It's kind of whack because everyone says family now. I won't name the one company that says family, which is kind of whack. Which is I just feel like it's burnt out. I feel like freaking Olive Garden shit. When you hear your family, And but all jokes aside, it is a family because I feel like that if people come to me with something, I'm always happy to help. My biggest come up was early on. My biggest customer, one of my best customers, was Tiana Denise, who's now become. I connected her with a handful of people And that girl ran with it. And now she's a G, man. She was on Sneakers Live. She's doing stuff with Wish Atlanta. She's doing all kind of stuff, man. I'm just proud of her, man. Like, it's like, that's the come up for me. Like, it ain't just about me or about Soul Premise. It's the people I'm able to surround myself with that, like, I hope I'm, with whatever I paid Unbreakable, helped pay for his daughter's college, or Mike Rich, or Roscoe, whoever it is that I've worked with. I hope that at some point, like, I've helped at least get to them where they want to be. And if they want to do more, hey, look, you got my phone number. Hit it up, man. Let's work. The economy sucks right now. Help me sell me some bags, man. Come on, guys.
Perfect. All right, so you started off with the commuter bag, right? That was the first bag that you hit.
No.
No. It was the big bag, actually. It was like this the
patent one that I have a patent on. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Since then, the bag line has grown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have the commuter bag, you have the smaller bag, you have the actual luggage bag.
Yep.
What would you say is your most profitable bag that you see getting purchased, and what is your personal favorite bag that you have?
So by far, by a long way, it's that first bag, that signature bag. I can just sell that.
That sells more than the commuter?
Hell yeah, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
I wasn't
yeah.
expecting that. I was expecting the commuter to be the best one.
That bad boy is. I can just sell that and be good, but
Wow.
people
That
like
shocked
having.
me.
Yeah, no. I love the commuter. Commuter's the one I use the most because it's most practical for.
Yeah, I use it every show.
But
Every time I travel, that's my bag.
transparently though, Joe, like, where the other one really works out is if you're like an overpacker like myself and you want to have options. Our bigger bag is great because it allows you to have, hey, if you feeling some type of way, you wake up some days and you're like, man, I feel fat as hell. I need to put this one shirt on. And then you got that shirt with you. Like sometimes, listen, we all have our moods and stuff. Some days you feel yourself, some days you don't, and you got to have a handful of different outfits you can pick from. So for me, it's like that's what I love is that it gives you options versus where the commuter you have more limited options. Like it's maybe a pair of shoes or two pairs of shoes and some clothes in there, but you ain't gonna have near as much options. So, I mean, I'll be honest, I rock our monogram commuter a lot because it just looks sexy, and it reminds me of my career in the sense that. I started out small and then I grew and grew and grew and moved to a luxury feel. But it's always because I've always had, an undertone of sophistication, but you always don't have to show it. You can always just be yourself and be both sophisticated and not sophisticated. That's actually what I love about how people present themselves in the NBA now at some level. Some of it's a little bit too, I don't know.
Mad funky.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Weirdos, bro.
Yeah. But some of them are able to merge that and say, hey, I'm going to dress it up but dress it down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And still be able to look swaggy but still look put together. And that's what I see about what we do. Like you can dress it up, dress it down, and you have the ability to look good going to the gym or look good going to the airport, look good going wherever you want to go. You know what I mean? So no, but the signature bag is, man, by a home, it's crazy. Which is why I actually pitched it to Hibbits to put that in their stores, but they actually went with the commuter. So that's what will be. Commuters will be out there, and whenever we get the details, I'll get you guys that out to you. And actually, well, how about this? When we do it, we'll have another podcast with Joe,
There you go.
making sure we announce something big. Of course, we'll make sure we announce another convention for Joe too. But at the same token, we'll make sure we get you guys the info for the Hibbits.
Yeah, bro. Honestly, that was shocking to me. I really thought it was gonna be the commuter because everybody
Nope.
that personally I see in the sneaker space, when they have your bags, they're coming to the shows. They're wearing
Because
the commuter.
it's more comfortable and
Yes.
easier to wear. But it's just because the other one really has the true function of just travel, which is, if you look at the story that I shared with you guys earlier, the idea originally was never for day-to-day stuff. It was more just for, hey,
travel.
just travel. Like, let's fix this problem because, homie, I'm tired of my stuff getting destroyed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
I mean, I can say every time we go, like when we have the shows in Detroit,
yeah.
that's my luggage.
Yeah,
that's literally all I take with me. 'Cause I'm
Joe,
only there
Joe's
for
been
2
a
or
day
3
one,
days.
guys. That's my man tells me to come over. I'm coming over, man.
All right, so the company, we all know, you built it. It became successful.
Yep.
Do you have any investments? Do you invest in any stocks, any type of property, any type of anything? Or do you just kind of keep all your eggs in one basket with Soul Premise for now and ride it?
So I have a financial advisor that helps manage my stocks and does all that stuff. And, I've obviously taken time to understand a majority of that stuff just so I can be well versed. But sometimes you got to let things go and let the professionals handle things. And at some level, while it's great to be in it, I don't think I'm at an age where I need to be 100% in it, as long as I see that what I'm investing is growing in the right direction. But also, I'm a firm belief that if I'm going to invest in a company I don't know, why wouldn't I invest in myself, right? So many of us are scared of investing in ourselves, and I know what I'm going to put in. I think I shared that with you guys. I'm willing to work till 10:30, 11:30, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I talked to China at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. So if I look like I have bedhead, it's because the same day I've been working up till 3 o'clock in the morning. So point in saying that is, why don't you invest in yourself? You know, I think people are scared to invest in themselves because they're scared of letting themselves down. So talking about putting eggs in one basket, yeah, I've invested in myself heavy. So the most investments I have is in my own product that's in storage. So at the end of the day, why not invest in myself if I know what I'm willing to put in? So what are you going to invest in a blind company that you have other people doing the work and you don't even know what's going on behind the scenes? What if they're in financial turmoil? What if they're not? What if they're upside down? What if their cash flow isn't right? Same thing Joe was saying, hey, the first 3 years, you maybe not making money, but they look like they're making money. You don't know, right? WNBA just said they lost 40 million. How do you run a business losing 40 million? Comment down below. How do you make money from a business if you lost 40 mil? Don't call my number because I don't want nothing a part of that if you lose that. Nope. Zero.
They really lost 40 million?
40
For
million.
real?
40 million. They reported 40 million.
How the fuck they lose? Where they just spend the money? What the fuck they spend the money on?
Well, you want a charter jet, don't you? Well, guess what a charter jet costs? It's like so stupid.
That's insane.
Stupid. Joe, it's stupid. And you know what the worst part is? Some of these owners have private jets. Wouldn't it be easier just for you to borrow that shit?
That's insane, dude.
And then write off it as an asset that you're just like it's what is that, like amortization, where like the value of that shit lowers because it's frequent. Bro, shut fuck out of here. 40 mil, Joe.
Yeah, that's fucking insane.
That's stupid.
Dude.
But we're gonna hold out and we're gonna do what are they just all opted out of their contracts for 2026 where they're like, we need to pull the stand and get more. You're losing money, dude.
Yeah.
You think employees are gonna ask for more money from their boss when they're losing money? No, they're like, what are we gonna do to keep this going?
Yeah, facts.
Like, bro, delusions exist in life.
All right, if you could go back 7 years ago from when you first started,
Okay.
what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself? You can take your time. You don't got it. You can think about it. I can always cut it too if it takes too long to think about it.
Honestly, I wouldn't give myself any different advice. I think I would continue on. I think I would just invest sooner in some of the people that I met, honestly, because I early on, at the first trade show I went up to 2J's. I went up to pretty much Tom Stefanik. I went up to Kais. I went up to, who else did I go up to? Tony D2 Wild, Mike the Compass. That's another dude. You want to talk about class act, dude. That man I've known for years, and to this day he still calls me for business advice, and we talk business all the time. I love that man, and he was one of the first guys that really put me on game with some of the stuff that goes on in the YouTube world, which I was just not aware. But I would have invested into YouTube sooner, and honestly, I would have done it more myself. Honestly, if honestly that's the one thing I would have done, I would have just done it myself. Because imagine, I could have saved myself a lot of money instead of paying other people. I could have done it myself and just grown it through that stance, which we see now. Most influencers are business owners at some level, or they're building something. So honestly, I would have just reversed that spin wheel, because now, in order to get it deliver a message, I'm delivering it a lot of times through these individuals. So, I would have probably just done YouTube myself and grown that from the ground up. But I have a love-hate relationship with the camera. I never saw it as a value, so I never took the time to say, hey, let's sit here and talk it up, guys. So. It's one of those things. It was a perception of value, but I also didn't just take the time to do it. So, we all have our shortcomings. I think that was probably mine.
So, for someone that created a brand that's so successful, what advice can you give to someone out there starting their own business? What's the best advice you can give to that person starting their own business?
Have a short memory. So often we get caught up in, oh, this person said this about me. Oh, this person is making a comment about this. Oh, this person doesn't believe in me. Oh, this. Listen, if I were to go down that road, you know how many people when I first met Joe told me this shit wasn't going to do nothing? In fact, I had people that said that they apologized to me later on, saying, hey, I didn't think you were going to do anything with your business. I thought you were going to be a one-off and do nothing with it. And you just got to be your biggest cheerleader. I mean, that's another thing. Your biggest cheerleader. Like, I don't hear noise. It's all a distraction, right? Like, there's times I don't even look at my phone because all it is just noise, right? We're all critiquing each other. We're all breaking each other down. Like, you can't go on anyone's social media right now, even as somebody you like, and without half the people talking shit to them, right? Yeah. It's just, that's the world we are. But, you know, we often let those people affect us and you know, deter us from what we should be doing. But guess what? Those people ain't paying your bills. And I always told people, if you ain't paying my bills, it don't matter what you got to say. And sometimes that line of thinking allows you to get past the muck and allows you to get to, okay, this is what's got to get done, and here's how I'm going to do it, and whatever the result is, I'm going to live with it, but at least I did it. And so many of us don't even get to that point. Leaving money on the table, leaving businesses on the table, leaving ideas on the table. Nah, man. Short memory. Who cares what those people have to say? I've been told some horrible things, man. Even from top-level executives that didn't think I was going to do anything with my brand. And guess what? I love it. I love it. This is going to sound pompous, but with me running my own company, I always tell people who work for somebody else, always remember you can be replaced. So you think you may be doing something right, just remember, you know, you have more to lose than I do. I'm not saying I don't have a lot to lose. I love my business. But you work for somebody, right? Like you can be replaced tomorrow. So I always tell people, keep that in mind when you do business transactions, because the way some people talk to people nowadays, they think that they're privileged because of the position they're in. You can be replaced tomorrow. So there's no one that's safe. Not even the president. That's true, right? Oh, shit.
That's true.
Oh, shit.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
No, 3.
All right, so we're gonna get to the fun ones. All right, so we're gonna do some top 3 questions.
Let's do it.
All right. Top 3 favorite YouTubers that you watch. You know what? Let me rephrase that. Top 3 favorite podcasters, YouTubers, streamers that you watch.
Max Tuning is one of my favorite YouTubers. He's hilarious. Actually, the creator of Sour Strips, which I take a lot of business advice from him. Another guy I watch is I actually enjoy a guy named Joey Stacks. I watch a lot of fitness YouTube guys, so I actually watch a guy named Joey Stacks, who's a fitness YouTuber. Okay. And honestly, I watch a lot of Unbreakable too. I like to stay clued into what's going to happen, and it's a tie between him and Jay. I love Jay's edits, so that for me that's where I like it.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, those are the 3 top for me. A lot of it's not. I don't even watch sneaker content, man. Like, not that I don't love it. I just don't want to, like, spoil myself with, like, the same stuff. Like, I've always told people the sneaker game would change if we would all watch Casey Neistat's old videos from back in the day and have that level of production for each video we put out. Like, now everyone does this. Oh, my God. Okay. Hi, Jenny. You want to see my shoe I bought from Hibbits? It's $150. Look at the inside, the side. This. I'm like, bro, the same thing. Get creative, you know? Like, that's why, actually, I'm going to break down. Frank Nitty is my dude. Like, I literally, when he goes to an outlet, I want to know what's there, how it's there. He gives me a breakdown. He tells me about the store, the numbers of the store. Hey, how much was his price from last week? That, to me, is taking what he could do that's so basic and elevating the experience. And it's like going to Disney. You could legitimately go to a fair up the road, or you want to go to Disney. Well, you want to go to Disney, right? Because it's an elevated experience. And that's what's lacking in our market. It's just an elevated experience.
What are your top 3 favorite movies of all time?
Woo. First one is the first Batman with Michael Keaton and who is it? Jack Nicholson. I love that movie. It was
a good one.
Oh man, I think I gotta take Roscoe's. I think Roscoe said Shawshank. That was a good movie.
Shawshank is amazing. That's definitely in
honestly,
my top 3.
I'm gonna take another one from him. Gladiator for me.
Really?
Oh, bro. When he was like, "Oh, I'm Oscar short," like when he's like talking to him like up on the thing. Oh, I'm like, dude, you guys, and just man, you see how Russell Crowe looks now?
Yep.
Listen, Big Macs need to call him right now. Burger King needs to take advantage right now.
Because I'm not entertained.
Because I'm unhinged right now. Have you seen that movie? You seen Unhinged? I will never honk at nobody after Unhinged. You haven't seen it?
I have not
seen
it. No. Is it like a Netflix movie or is it like in
Bro,
theaters?
it's on
or?
Netflix right now.
Oh, okay.
And to sum it up, it's a dude that gets pissed off when somebody honks at him, and he loses his shit.
Is it like a comedy or is it like a horror
No,
movie?
bro, it's like, it's reality. It's what I watch on 2020.
Like road rage type shit?
Bro, whole nother level, bro. Man just loses his marbles. And he done had too many Big Macs, and that's not even trying to be rude. How do you go from 300 to
Yeah.
Honey, over
300. He wasn't at 300, was he?
or not 300.
Yeah, Gladiator.
Sorry,
Okay.
Gladiator. But he was still in good shape then.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Bro, it was like I actually
was.
for the first time, it was an actor that I saw that overall didn't look like he took steroids to get a position. It looked like he just hit the gym, did enough to get into a good shape, but did not lie like, I don't take steroids. I didn't do this to. Bro, come on, bro. Half these cats look ridiculous. Like, come on. You're going to tell me Wolverine ain't taking something?
Yeah. He did look.
Thor ain't taking something? Come on, bro. Stop.
Top 3 favorite restaurants to eat at in Orlando.
None. No,
None.
Bro, honestly, there was a place called Thai Basil that I was obsessed with that had Thai food that was unfortunately closed. There's a lot of Orlando-based stuff. Is just, it's.
All right, let me
It's
change
medium.
it.
I listen. My favorite places to go on a weekly basis would probably be. I've recently started going to. I think it's another Thai place. That is actually that's right around the corner. I forgot what it's called, like Thai Delight or something like that. Man, you can never go wrong with Ale House. I'm sorry, Ale House is always
right
fire.
there on Redbug.
Yeah, look, and I think Cheesecake Factory, bro.
Cheesecake Factory, maybe top
Listen,
3.
Me and Big A could literally. I've literally ran into Big A like 50 times at Cheesecake Factory.
Winter Park.
And surprisingly, me and Big A are not small dudes, and I'll leave that there. I'll leave that one there.
What cheesecake do you order? Do you order cheesecake afterwards?
Bro, it depends if I'm like, it depends if I feel like I haven't gorged that week.
Yeah.
Then I'll allow myself like, oh, okay, it's that one time you're gonna be really bad, even though I probably had like a dessert the day before. Like it depends. If I'm with wifey, then she got to pick because you gotta let her pick. You know what I mean? You gotta sweeten it out.
You gotta share it. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I like the carrot cake cheesecake. That's one of my favorites.
Carrot cake. All right, I never.
Because I like the balance. I don't like it to be like a gut punch. Like some of these like over like triple chocolate. Like, bro, come on, man. You're gonna be shitting for days, bro.
Yeah.
Like you can't. This is not gonna work. So, I like that one. And there's the a red velvet one. The red velvet one's good too.
Oh
my wife
yeah,
likes
that's a
that
good one.
Yeah, that's good. So I would say it's a tie between those two. I get that a lot. Actually, they have another one that was like a lemon something. I forgot what it was. Again, another pulled back one that wasn't like overly with like compounded with sugar and shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I love sugar. That's probably my biggest weakness. I can just have sugar all day. But I like it when it's balanced.
Yeah.
That's why honestly
Not too overpowering.
berry treasure from Ale House.
What is that? The dessert there or something?
Oh yeah, it is. It's so good, bro.
I never had it.
Oh my god.
Have you had TJ's Food Shack? TJ Seafood Shack?
No.
Bro, it's right next to your gym.
Really?
You need to go there, bro.
Do
you like
the
seafood?
Seafood place?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I actually park in their designated spots. It says it's a towaway zone.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care. Take my shit, man.
You need to try that spot, bro.
Is that good?
It's so good.
Really?
A lot of it's fried food, so it's not healthy.
But I see a lot of people go there.
But it is so fucking. It's like
Really?
a mom and pop staple, bro. That shit is delicious.
Wow. I guess you know what? I just didn't see it as like something, so I was like,
I didn't either until honestly, I went there. They had what I was looking for specifically. I like southern shit.
Yeah.
And they had fried okra.
Ooh.
And they had hush puppies.
Well, hush puppies
so I
are
was
fire.
like, holy shit.
It's good hush puppies? Ridiculous? Oh,
amazing.
Man. I may
bro.
go there after here.
They're closed. They close early. They close at 8 p.m.
What?
And they close on Sundays.
That's illegal.
Bro, it is so you
know
have to go.
Can I say this?
You have to go.
Talking about like places that are closed on weekends or on Sundays.
Yeah.
Why would you
Chick-fil-A?
Why would you? I mean, honestly, like I actually was. I'm waiting for the day that someone like sets up a business on Sundays in Chick-fil-A. Why wouldn't you?
Start selling slinging
I don't even care.
slinging chicken in the parking lot.
Honestly, I would actually hold like a farmer's market in Chick-fil-A parking lots. You imagine that? I mean, Joe's gonna start running a convention at your nearest
my
Chick-fil-A
God.
corner.
You know what? Chick-fil-A might be coming soon.
Yeah,
It's
let's
their
go.
Senior convention. No, I'm not joking.
Let's go.
All right, another top 3. What are your top 3 favorite music artists of all time?
Ooh. Juvenile.
Juvenile, take it back.
50 Cent.
Hell yeah, 50's in my top 3
And
as
I ain't
well.
gonna lie to you, man. I can go hard. I either it's a tie between Lloyd Banks or The Game. Because when I want to get in it, actually, and I hate to say because there's going to be 5 now. For me, it brings me back because when I work out, I like to get into like that mode of like stuff that motivates me, and I love Master P, bro. Like way back, Master P. I could that was the first explicit CD I ever bought at Kmart. Some of you kids don't even know what the hell Kmart is.
Was it the album with the tank in the front?
Yes,
Is
bro.
it? Okay, yeah, that's his greatest
Make 'em
album.
say,
Yeah, was it No Limit Records? I think that was
No
the name
Limit?
of his
Yeah,
album.
I
It
think
was
it
No
was
Limit.
right
It
now.
was No Limit.
Yeah, I think
It's
it was
No
No
Limit
Limit.
Records, but I
Yeah.
think that album specifically was
It's No Limit
Limit.
Records, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah,
good
it is
one.
No Limit. Yeah, it is No
Yeah,
Limit.
yeah.
Yeah. Bro, that was my favorite CD. I could probably sing you, like, I won't sing you guys half the songs, but, like, I got you, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Those are like that's like my. How old are you, bro?
I'm 37. Or it's going to be 37, 36.
Okay, so we're about the same.
Yeah.
We're the same fucking age. Yeah, listen to the same shit, bro.
That's all I listen
That
to.
era of hip hop. I was in like 3rd grade listening to fucking Back That Ass Up.
Bro, I love it. I'll be honest. I never forget the day that one of my roommates put me on G Unit and 50 Cent.
Hell yeah.
You know, funny enough, the guy he was a roommate of mine, and I never tried weed, and he called the cops on me for smoking weed for the first time ever.
What?
Man, made me mad paranoid, man. I was like, bro.
He called the cops on you.
Yeah, and the cops laughed at him because then we had the windows open, like airing the shit out. And I'll never forget, I was living at the Village of Science Drive, and you know, it is what it is, man. Like,
That's fucked up. I would have slapped the shit out of that, man.
Well, now you have the chance to change that if you go.
Vote yes on 3.
Yes. That was a perfect lightweight, right?
That's hilarious, bro. All right.
Yeah, but he put me on 50 Cent, bro. He was the biggest Unit fan, and then I had another roommate that was my boy Brett, who was to this day amazing dude. He was the biggest Tupac fan. I never got into Tupac.
I was never a big fan of Pac.
But I won't lie, there was a couple songs that are good.
Yeah.
But some of them are just like, nah, I'm good, man. I don't gotta.
Yeah.
Actually, my favorite song of all time, which I sang at my 8th grade to calm my nerves, the 7th grade championship basketball game, Forgot About Dre, was one of my favorite songs.
Great one. Chronic was a great album.
Bro, that was just... Actually, one of my favorite songs of all time is Lay Low. I love that song, bro.
That was a great album, bro. Top 3 favorite sneakers of all time.
Ooh. Well, I'm your favorite hype beast, guys. No. Actually, so top 3 will probably be... Oof. I want to go with what I wear the most. I ain't gonna lie to you. I wear my Travis Scott Olives. Like, I wear them out. When I got them, actually, shout out to, I think it's Jared Allen, guy on Instagram who's a big sneakerhead and always sells big feet stuff. So, did a trade with him and got these, and I legitimately can wear them all the time. Actually, didn't go for what's the shoe that just came out?
The other Travis's?
Yeah.
The Reverse Olives.
Reverse Olives. I didn't go for those because I feel like it's too much green. It's just too much green for me. I don't know. Like, it's not bad. I just don't wear enough green to like match that given style. But that's one. I think I hate to say it, but Travis Scott Highs, the OG pair is just, when I saw it with the pinks or the pink laces, I was like, bro, that's just beautiful.
I think I have pink on mine.
And honestly, I think the biggest shoe that I said, wow, I have to have that, was the Zebras, man. I think
the Yeezys, 350s.
Yeah, man. I think it was a tie between those and the Chicken McNuggets because, bro, I never forget. I saw those at a convention, and I stopped everything I was doing. I was like, I have got to buy those right now. And I actually traded a couple bags at the time for those and for a pair of shoes that I think the craziest thing that ever happened to me at convention, someone bought shoes off my feet, and I'm a dumbass. They were actually gifted to me. From an athlete, and he had given me at the time the off-white UNCs.
Damn, and you sold them
for $800, bro.
Oof, yeah, that's rough. And you were like a 15. You're 14 or 15.
14.
So that shit must have been going for a bag right now.
I mean, I figured out like, they were killing my feet at the trade show, and I was like, "You really want them?" They're like, "Yeah, I want them." And They had already bought a bag for a good amount of money, so I was like, I mean, if I can take care of you, why not? And they were, I mean, it was gifted to me, but at the same time, I was like, I felt bad about the whole situation, and I was like, yeah, well, screw it. I mean, like, I don't try to hold too much value to material items. So I put it this way: my biggest regret running a business, I have never kept a sample that I've ever made.
You
And
saw the sample bags?
bro, I'll sell everything. Sell everything, Joe. I still don't have the first. I'm so greedy that I want to sell this shit. My mentality is I'm like CC's, right? In the sense that it don't do me no good sitting there. Let's try to sell it, baby. Let's find a way to sell it, because too often what happens is that people get so much in their ego. They're like, oh, I don't want to sell it for this, or I don't want to sell it. You got to move product, man. Like, at some point, like, it doesn't make sense. And I feel like some businesses have actually crashed trying to keep this, like, I'll never discount a product. I talked to a business a year ago that was absolutely failing during this, like, weird economic time of whatever, this Bidenomics. And he was fighting it, and he was actually fighting himself too, because he was having a harsh reality that people really only are buying when things are discounted, when they're getting a deal. And if you're not getting a deal, a lot of people just aren't buying. Like, and shoot, for the first time in my life, I'm getting emails from high, I would say, luxury products that are now discount. Bro, I'm seeing what is it? Louis Vuitton has sent things for discounts. I saw Goyard sending me 30% off pre-Black Friday, 2 months in advance. What? Goyard? Okay.
All right, what are the top 3 stores that you would like to see open up in Orlando that is not currently here yet?
I think I would like some of these like boutiques, like a Feature or like these sneaker boutiques. I think it baffles me that at some level too. Even, man, truthfully, even an official Adidas store, because I remember, obviously it's a little past the marker, but I remember when all these people would get these sneaker drops for Yeezys, and we never have an official store to go see that is something you can claim a pair. I don't know if you remember that or not. I know they started doing a little bit more at the outlets, but I mean, there's actually, Orlando's a beautiful place. That's why people, when people talk it, I don't understand. We literally got everything here. I mean, truthfully, where we're spoiled is like outlets. Like, I honestly don't even want anything more, because at some point it's almost like we talked about it earlier. Cheesecake Factory, man. You don't even know what to pick anymore. Like, you don't even know where to go. Like, sometimes I'm like, I don't even. But honestly, I know we were going to touch on this a little bit. At this point, I don't even know if there's stores that even would bother coming here, just because everything's going e-commerce. At this point, why would you physically move yourself to a location when people are willing to visit you online to buy this stuff? So it's for the same reason that Roscoe and Raffy do well online, is because people at the same time don't want to have to go out of their way to get a pair of sneakers. And that's why I even watch Nitty's videos too, is because I want to see how many pairs are still at these stores. Do people even go and get this stuff anymore? Like, it's baffling to me that there's people that legitimately on a Saturday morning, instead of spending time with their family or whatever the case may be, are legitimately going to get pairs. So, but no, I don't. Truthfully, Joe, I don't even go out to shop like that anymore, like in stores like that, because I miss the experience, but I also don't miss the idea that I then spend 20 minutes price comparing online to see if I'm even getting a deal.
Yeah.
Stupid. Like, I don't. It's half these companies are always overcharging you. So
Yeah. Well, you did say that whenever I asked you the restaurant question, you had a little bit of a stumble saying that there wasn't really any. But what about those? There got to be some restaurants you want to see open up here, yeah?
Oh my God. I mean, honestly, I'm such a fiend for what is it? What's that burger place that everyone loves in California?
In-N-Out?
Oh my God, In-N-Out is so good.
You like
bro.
it?
Oh my
You fuck
God.
with it?
Bro, if I didn't go to the gym, you guys wouldn't even want to see me, bro. Like, honestly, In-N-Out's amazing. Actually, there's places in Chicago. I actually like talking about mom and pop. There's some places in Chicago and some of these bigger cities that I wish like smaller mom and pop places would take a risk. The problem is with Orlando is that we're so spread out. Like, it's such a massive city from just a spread out nature. There's not a good place to open stuff. Like, that's probably why businesses are failing. Is that, like, while there's a handful of people that do well, like in the center of downtown or even like off Mills, I just feel like in general there's just not a good place to do it. And to take it a step further, there's not a good syndicate that you can look at to guide you to Orlando. Like, now every time I look at food stuff, I'm getting random ass chicks that are like, "Oh my God, I just went to this new place and And look at this, the thing I ate. Like, I don't, bro. Like, so now I'm getting advertised random bloggers, which is cool. But, like, there's not a syndicate I can look at that tells me, hey, here are the new places that open. Check out this place. Go look at this place. Go do this. Here's what's coming up this weekend. There's not one central place, you know. And that's the biggest thing I actually, funny enough, talking about my marketing career, marketing business, that was actually something I wanted to build was a one-stop shop for Orlando because I feel like there's not. There's not a place like, dude, did you even know that tonight was opening night for the Magic? No. Why? Because Central Florida has a problem with marketing things the right way. They don't know how to market things the right way. And it's a disgrace because there's a lot of money here, a lot of people here, a lot of families here, and they could do so much more with the audience if they just knew how to leverage it.
I mean, the only thing I see, of course, is coming from the algorithm on Instagram or on
Yeah,
Facebook.
but
Because if it's something I search up, it's going to pop up in the feed.
yeah, but now
normally,
the algorithm's trash anyway. Honestly, I think the algorithm's actually destroyed businesses because wholeheartedly, like now, it's a crapshoot if you're going to get even 5 likes or if you're going to get 100. Like legitimately, I think now the resource, and I'm going to sound hella like a pathetic, person looking for likes, but in the sense of for you to get attention or notoriety to a post, you almost have to send it to people to tell them to do something to the post because the algorithm's so trash. It'll show you a half naked chick here 1 minute, and then it'll show you a guy crossing somebody over the next. It's like, what? Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I just don't even know what it's attempting to do when there's not even a basis of what you're showing me anymore. I'd rather you just show me a timetable of things that people are posting so I can make my own discerned opinions of what I want to see, not what you think I want to see. And unfortunately, what it's also become, and I hate to say it, it's almost like what the news has become. They're showing you what they want you to see, not what you're telling it you want to see.
Yeah.
And at this point, I actually believe, and I know people are saying, "Oh, I think Big A said, invest in Meta, invest Facebook. It's never going to fail." I think it is going to fail. I think it's going to fail because they're trying to take control of your mind in the sense that what you see and how you see it. And at some point, society's always pushed against that and always says, you know what? No, gee, I'm not going to go with, like, while you are giving me an outlet, at some point you're also contouring my mindset because at this juncture, our lives are controlled by our phones. And the whole time I've been here and even doing this, I haven't looked at my phone once because there's a sense of liberty of not being controlled by a machine that literally dictates how you wake up. You look at your phone. You go take a shit. You look at your phone. You go brush your hair. You look at your phone. Like everything you do, you look at your phone, and it's like that dictates your mood, your mentality, everything. And at some level, I actually think because those platforms, i.e., Meta and Instagram, are the primary focus of that pooling, I think it's actually going to be a negative in the future. I think it's actually going to be something that will eventually pull away from because it's lost that same ability for me, and like what me and Joe are doing, like people sitting next to each other. Like we don't do that. I'll talk to you in China over a freaking thing and I'll talk shit about you. Oh, you have fucked up hair. But like I will never say that to you in person. Come on, bro. Like that's just whack.
Everything's definitely gone.
You get what I'm saying, right?
Mobile.
Like yeah, it's like
mobile, virtual.
Like but the unfortunate part, Joe, is like you then lose society in some level. Like, do you imagine? Like I know it's like I sound like an old fart. Do you remember when we used to do this? Like, but yeah, like bro, like there was a time where people would actually get together and hang out, and not like now you see families don't even talk to each other because they're on their phone.
Yeah,
it makes me like my wife always points out to me like they're not even talking to each other. I'm like, yeah, bro, because they're like 20 like paragraphs deep and looking at comments about what somebody said about somebody else. That's the kind of stuff that makes a difference where most people don't see. Like we're literally not like there's times I just sit with my kids and just want to understand. He asked me things like, hey, how was it when you did this? And like I want that discovery. We need to discover people more. And which is cool, which is where podcasts have become big because we're discovering people and we're getting away from the idea that we can only discover things through a social platform, which even though we share this on a social platform, it still enables us to get comfortable with people, and like break down those barriers that we all have because of either trauma or life or whatever the case may be. We kind of let that stuff come down, So, sitting behind these shoes, what it always reminds me of, that every sneaker blog does this. What if we put a beach behind us? Like, would that be pretty sick? I'm showing you the shoe at the beach.
when the hurricane was here, right?
Oh,
It came
yeah.
I was like, bro, I'm about to do a fucking podcast in the garage.
That'd be sick.
With the garage open while the hurricane is fucking
That'd be
behind
sick,
us.
dude.
Some Florida man shit.
It is some Florida man shit. I love that.
All right. So we're gonna go on to a segment I call Pick This or That. I'm gonna give you one. Pick this or that. Steak or chicken?
Steak.
Android or Apple?
Android.
Pub subs or Firehouse?
Oof. Pub sub.
Mac or PC?
Whole PC, dude.
UFC or boxing?
UFC.
Stay in or go out?
Stay in.
Orlando or New York?
Orlando.
Drake or Kendrick?
Drake.
Jordan or Yeezy?
Jordan.
Zephyr Hills or Dasani?
Who the hell cares?
LeBron or Jordan?
Jordan.
Stocks or property?
Property.
Trump or Kamala?
Trumper, baby. We're at the worst economic situation we've ever been, and they expect that someone who's like now suddenly, because she recognizes that the polls are showing her that the more she attaches herself to Biden, that it's negative, that she's going to detach herself and speak negatively of him. You've been under the same administration as him. Chances are you're going to have the same people in cabinet that you're going to want. Yeah. All the policies will still subside around the same things. You're not going to change our world. So, you give us hope. I look out for you guys. You know, I was once this. No one gives a shit, bro. Like, no, like, you guys have weaponized the justice system to effectively put someone in jail because they're willing to speak out and like, you understand, most of us, and this is where the United States has now turned on that mentality, is that we're all foreigners and we all have effectively come from a different country to get away from that, from being controlled, from being in some kind of like dictatorship. We want away from that. Don't bring it to the United States. Yeah. That's trash, man.
It's a personal, it's a touchy subject.
I mean, everyone's, Joe, this is the first year in my life during an election year I don't see people posting about their politics because they're scared to. And I hate that. I
don't want to say it's scared.
No, it's
okay.
Scared.
You think it's scared? I know for the reason I don't post. It's not because I'm scared. Honestly, I can give two shits. However, there is and I've been since from a long time ago. I didn't post shit because if you put your personal beliefs out there, I run the shows, right? Mm-hmm. If I put the personal beliefs out there, which we talked about this earlier. Because I'm voting for this person, I put my beliefs out there. That person that was going to fuck with me is not going to fuck with me no more. He's no longer coming to the show. I'm no longer getting.
But you know what the argument is, Joe? They weren't going to fuck with you regardless for something in a long time. I don't know. I agree with that statement, but I hate that that's what the world comes to because like
it is. It's fucked up. I don't give a shit who you're voting for. Kamala, Trump, this motherfucker on the side. I don't care. I mean, I can care less. I'll respect your opinions. We don't have to agree. Just because I can't, because we don't agree, I can't fuck with you, and you can't fuck with me. So that's a small-minded person. So
my biggest thing, and this is where I don't hate people for thinking the negative things they think about Trump, is that imagine, and never in our society and life have we had networks that are no longer providing news, but they're provided a one-sided source that makes someone look, and they repeatedly use those same outlets, i.e., MSNBC, CNN, all these things that syndicates. That are effectively calling this person the worst person on earth, and they repeat those same things and try to use evidence that have no factual basis. Russian misinformation. I mean, all these different things they try to put on him. I just think that's just as bad as anything else. And I asked somebody the other day, will there be a news channel that I can give my kids to watch where they actually can find the news, not what they want to tell you? Like where is the news anymore? Like, I don't even know where there's news. Like, it's kind of gross. Like, I think local channels are better than even the actual news anymore. Yeah. Like, it's disparaging. You can't even watch the news without you trying to be swayed by some person trying to just speak, like, the end of democracy. What? Did we lose our democracy for 4 years? I don't understand. Like he was in office already. Like is something that I don't know? I'm confused here. Like these irrational statements, and what's sad is I think where we all get more confused is that there's highly educated people making these statements, and unfortunately, what it also goes down is even the media started to use this excuse. Oh well, they almost have a tape on these people. Either Epstein or Diddy has a tape on them. bro, like, come on, man. Like, at some point we got to squash that stuff. Too,
The conspiracy theories
Oh
keep
my
going
God.
on and on and on. It doesn't
You,
stop.
you know what I'm gonna tell him? I got a tape of you going for Kamala and not making sense. I'm gonna use that till the day I die. I'm sorry. Forget Diddy. I ain't got no lotion.
All right, so rapid fire. I'm
Yeah.
going to give you a word. Tell me the first word that comes to your mind, but it cannot be the same word.
Okay.
Florida.
Panthers.
Yeezy.
Kanye.
YouTube.
Joe.
Money.
Me.
Fun.
Me.
Investments.
Big A.
Sneakers.
Roscoe.
Jordan.
Marcus.
Orlando.
Oh man. Magic.
Happiness.
Family.
Success.
Exhausting.
Soul.
Premise.
There you go. Will these things still be relevant in the next 5 years? I just need yes or no answers.
Okay.
TikTok.
No.
Post Malone.
No.
LeBron James.
Yes.
Sneaker conventions.
No.
Bronny James.
No.
Kanye.
No.
Retro Jordans.
Yes.
Cryptocurrency.
Yes.
ASICs.
No.
New Balance.
No.
YouTube.
Yes.
Meta.
Yes.
StockX.
No.
GOAT.
No.
solepremise.
Absolutely.
So, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? What are your goals?
Honestly, I hope in 5 years, obviously, I'm running Soul Premise, still being an active part of the company, growing it, making it not just a company of just bags. I want to, part of what I've always wanted to do is expand and do media. I love doing storytelling. I love the idea of what, E60's done, Netflix, all these companies have done of building a story. If you look at our YouTube channel, we've followed a few NBA players, and I've always wanted to kind of invest more in the media side of telling stories. So I think that's something I want to kind of cultivate over the next 5 years and build an element of just people following their sole premise in life and really diving into like that kind of element. And I also hope to be a mentor and honestly an advocate of just being able to teach people. And I guess I hate using the terminology of being I guess you'd call it a consultant. But I would love to help consult people in regarding like what they want to do in life. At the end of the day, one of the coolest things is I've always wanted to have a podcast that was about how to make it in America, because I think we're all just trying to figure that out. We're all just trying to find the secret equation for ourselves of how to make it in this country. And it's not easy. We have a ton of distractions, talking about our phones and different things that are there to kind of like, mix that up. But, how do we stay focused at the task and deliver on it? And I think for me, I would love to consult people on how to deliver and see their self through. And for me, that's the biggest reward, because while I love doing what I do for Soul Premise, there's nothing more I love than consulting with people and seeing them win. I have people that I've known for years that I consulted with them, told them like, you have the skills to do this. You just don't see it yourself, but I promise you do. And now they're some of the top people that I know in my my network. And part of that is just, I love that I had a part in that, and I don't even care to get credit for it. I just love that they know that, and that's it, So,
All right, and to close it out, what are some positive words of advice that you can give somebody out there watching? You can pick about what it's about, just some type of positive advice.
that you don't need to have everything figured out in life, right? Like too often we're too hard on ourselves. We're over judgmental. I mean, obviously our society tells you need by 21 you need to be married. By this age you need to do this. By this age you need to do that. You can go at your own pace and also just hold yourself accountable. That's the biggest thing. But at the end of the day, just give yourself grace and continue to pursue whatever it is you're wanting to do, no matter how much work it takes to get there, right? Like, legitimately, he told me if I would be sticking around doing something for 7 years, doing the same damn thing to grow something. Some people just don't have that tenure, that ability, or that patience to see it through. But everything takes time. Nothing's easy. There's no, like I said it before, success is not a straight line. And you're going to have battles with yourself, battles with money, battles with your family, battles with everything around you to figure out the perfect equation. And you just got to continue to push no matter what it takes. And it doesn't have to be fancy. Like, Some of us are embarrassed to say what we do for a living. Who gives a shit? That means you're making money. You're not a bum at home doing nothing. Like, you're doing something. You're moving forward. Don't think less of yourself. Like, I hate the idea that people meet me and they know what I do and they think I'm something special. No, I'm just like you. I'm just going to work. That's it. We all just go to work. We just find different ways to make it, and that's it. So continue to do what you do. Stop being so hard on yourself, and let's just win together. Find a way to have people around you that want you to win. And too often we surround ourselves with people that are wanting us to lose, and that's not a winning circle. Like, you don't have to be around people that are millionaires, but have the people around you that want you to win, and that'll be a helpful way to kind of get closer to that end success. Of what you're wanting to achieve.
Tony,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah.
so much for coming, brother. I really appreciate
course,
you.
bro.
Shout out all your stuff. Let the people know where they can find
Man,
you.
come check us out at solepremise.com, guys. I know you guys are all probably gearing up for the holidays. You're looking for a bag. You're looking for something that will get you from point A to point B. If you're a sneakerhead and you don't have our bags, you're sleeping on yourself. You're sleeping on everything else in between. If you're willing to put your shoes in a freaking container, but you're willing to throw them in your luggage and then trash the living shit out of them, you're in a whole other planet that I can't be a part of, because at some point this shit will get fucked up in luggage. So do yourself the favor, get our bags. Our compartments are situated for your shoes to sit in there perfectly, so they don't get banded, folded, creased. And honestly, if you're worried about anything happening to your shoes while they're in our product, I actually stuff socks in them. I stuff my underwear in them. I stuff shirts in them, so it even further almost appears as though it's in a sneaker box, which is how it physically lays in there. So, guys, if you haven't already, there's a multitude of bags that we have available to you. Our signature bag, which can carry up to 5 pairs of shoes. Our commuter bag can carry between 2 to 3. Our duffels can carry quite a few as well. We have a sneaker duffel, carry 4 pairs of shoes. We have it all. Sling bags, toiletries. This holiday season, I challenge every single one of you, instead of going to your big box store and spending money with Saks Fifth Avenue and all these little random stores that those people don't care about you, shop small, man. Go to a small business. Give it to the people that are truly caring and are creating jobs in this country and are continuing to fight every single day regardless of what is going on around us. Shop small. Give back to these small businesses that truly build your community up and are part of your community, that you could be helping them by simply not shopping with what I tell people all the time. Just because you buy Louis Vuitton doesn't mean you're part of an echelon group that's a higher status. If ideally they can care less about you, nor does the average Joe know if that thing's real or fake. So at the end of the day, it's not putting you a part of any group. Shop with a company that has the same level of quality as those brands, but actually gives a shit about you. Solepremise.com, baby. I'll see you there.
We appreciate y'all watching. This was episode 9. We will see y'all next week for episode 10. All his links will be in the description below. We appreciate y'all. See you next episode.
Peace.
Peace.